All right. So Lab 3, I've already posted the link on the announcements portion of Blackboard. I did that last night. And actually, there were 7 people that have already collected their data. Um, for the remaining people that have not collected data, here, I'll show you where that is. This one right here, Sci Toolkit link for Lab 3 on the top of the announcements right here. You can't just click directly on it. You just have to copy and paste it into your browser, and then it will take you to the experiment, which will take around 10 to 15 minutes. Today's lab is going to be quite similar to the way Lab 1 was, in the sense that we're going to collect data on ourselves, and then we're going to be turning in this lab basically 2 separate parts, part 1 and part 2. Most labs will be like this, where we collect data and then we have 2 separate parts. Information about exactly what you'll be doing in this lab is available on Blackboard. I guess I'll show you that. So we'll go to Labs, and then down here for Lab 3, Part 1, this is the slides that I'll be showing you right now. But you'll turn in Part 1 right here. So last week's lab was kind of the exception to the rule because we weren't collecting data. For last week's lab, you were actually coding your own experiment. So I had you turn things in a different way. Basically, all you had to do was record your Zoom video, create a link in some kind of cloud drive, and then email me that link. Today's lab is more like the first week, and you're going to be turning in what I asked you to do in 2 parts. Part 1 will be due Sunday night, and then part 2 will be due at the end of the coming week. I guess it'll be, I guess we're in week 3 now, so it'll be the end of week 4, which will be when lab. And I'll tell you more about part 2 in class Monday. So specifically about this lab, I'm looking at the slides, which are currently available on Blackboard. So the link I already told you about. You do need a computer with a keyboard. Once again, tablets aren't going to work. And also you need to be able to hear sounds on your computer. Speakers are fine, or headphones. Either one will work fine. And just like Lab 1, there's a Google Drive folder. You'll take your experiment on Sci Toolkit, and then when you're done, your data will move over to the Sci Toolkit server, which I have access to. And then I will move your data over to this Google Drive folder. And once again, you'll have a survey file and you'll have a data file. The data file will have your the buttons that you push, whereas the survey file just has your 625 participant ID number on it. So both of those, the survey file and the data file, will be in here. I will point out that for today's lab, the dependent variable is not reaction time. It is actually just what was the number, what was the button that the participant pushed on each trial. And I'll show you, what the data should look like. I ran myself as a participant, and I'll show you the way the data are compiled here on Excel in just a second. But the place you'll get your survey and data files are going to be in this Google Drive. There are already some there. The people that did it last night and this morning already, I've moved your survey and data files. There's 7 of them already there. You'll be able to get an early start on this. You will import your data file into Excel exactly like we did in Lab 1. I'm not going to show you again because I'm kind of hoping you remember. However, if you forgot and you need me to show you again, I'll be here and we'll be happy to show you how to import your data file into Excel. You'll also copy and paste your survey file into Excel, and I'll show you my example. The data are big this time, and so you're not going to be able to just move your survey file off to the side. You're going to have to put it below things, and I'll show you what I would like that to look like and where I want you to put everything. You will, similarly to Lab 1, you will be compiling the data into the various conditions. There are a lot of conditions. There's like 26 conditions here. So we're going to have a whole lot of if-then statements, and I'll show you how those are going to work. Yeah, and then you'll calculate the means of those various conditions. There's 26 conditions and exactly 26 trials. So each trial is its own condition. And so you're only going to have one data point for each condition. So you're going to be taking the average of a 1 score, basically, for each condition. Just a heads up there. And then you will be copying and pasting your means into this Google sheet right here, just like we did last time. So these are the different conditions up at the top. You're not really going to understand what these mean until, well, if you've read the article for Monday, you might have a little bit of an idea. And I'll definitely explain this stuff in a lot more detail for Monday as well. But as I mentioned, I kind of want you guys to be a little bit naive about the purpose of the experiments while we're collecting data. Oops. But those things at the top are the various conditions. And as I mentioned, there are 26 of them. So there's a lot. And so now, now I'll show you how to compile the data. So yeah, here we go. Okay. So here are my data right here. These are my data right here. All of this stuff right here. These are my button pushes. So I'll admit it, I was just trying to get through this as quick as possible. And so I just pushed one for every trial. I do not want you to do that because that will make the data bad, but I knew we're not going to include my data in the experiment. So once again, I just pushed one every trial to get done through things as quick as possible. Please do not do that. I want you to take the experiment, follow the directions as closely as you can, which involves not pushing one or the same number in every trial for sure. So the first thing that you're going to do, I haven't given you a blank Excel sheet, so I haven't given you an Excel sheet, so you'll just start with a blank Excel sheet. And the first thing that you're going to want to do is these things at the top, these things in bold. These are the 26 conditions. I had to physically type in all of these manually, which didn't take too long. It took like 5 minutes. You don't actually have to do that. You can do that if you want, but it's an error-prone process. And I'd rather not have a bunch of errors. So what I want you to do is go to this Google Drive right here, which you do have access to. Everyone has access to it, and copy and paste all of them, all 26 of the bold things. Copy, and then go back to the Excel, and then you'll go to your sheet. So your sheet will look like this, and you'll want to copy paste it into F1. So I'll do that. There's F1, paste right there. And then you might want to center it if you like things to look pretty, which I kind of do. So that's how you're going to get all those conditions at the top. And then you'll import your data into cell A1. This first row right here, this is just the instructions. And so we don't really care. It takes a log of everything the participant does, including the instructions and stuff, but we don't care about that. What we really care about are the 26 trials, which are shown right here. These same conditions right here, those are the same conditions that are up here, but these are in a random order. These are in a predetermined order. The Psy toolkit will randomly choose among these different conditions. That's why we need all the if-then statements right here. So let me show you an if-then statement. So right here in cell F, this is cell F2, it says if F1, this thing right here, equals this thing right here, then, so that's A2, this is A2. So if F1 equals, oh, you can't see it. Wait, there's chats. Oh, no, that's okay. You can't see it. Good. You guys are able to see my Excel. You can see my screen share, right?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Yeah. I was getting chats and I was wondering if it was because you couldn't see it, but good. You can. Okay. So, so the if-then statement is equals if F1 equals A2, then copy and paste the contents of cell E2. So E2 is what button did the participant push on the trial. As I said, I pushed one for every trial. That's not going to be what you guys do, hopefully. If this equals this, then copy and paste whatever is in cell E2. But if you notice, DCN3 does not equal DGS3, so it says false there. Let's move down though. Oh, and please take a note of my dollar signs because you're going to want to use the dollar signs like I have here. That'll save you a lot of time when you're doing the copy and pasting or the drag down technique to copy and paste all these formulas. So let's move down to the next one. It still says if F1 equals, but now it's A3, then copy and paste the contents of cell E3, which is the button they pushed on that trial. DCN3 does equal DCN3. Therefore, we see the number 1 there instead of the word false. And then you're going to do this for every single trial. So I'll move over now to column G. Here it says if G1 equals A2, then copy and paste the button push, which is in E2. This DCS3 does not equal DGS3, so it says false there. If you want to see the one where it does equal is down here, way down here, DCS3, which is in cell A27, does equal what is in G1. Those two equal here, and so we copy and paste the 1, which is right there, into that cell. And you do that for all 26 conditions, but they're all the same. It's always if this thing right here equals this thing right here, then copy and paste the button push for that trial. And if that's not true, then the word false will appear. And then right here, I just want you to take the average of each column. So you can literally just type in the word average right here and then highlight all this stuff. And it's going to give you, there's only one trial per column. So you could also type in the word sum if you wanted, because it'll just sum that one number. But we usually will be doing averages here. So basically, you just want that number that appears somewhere in this column to appear right here. We want each number that appears in the corresponding column to appear in a single row together. And then these will be basically the averages for each of our conditions. And this will be the starting point for some data analyses that we're going to be doing in class Monday. I want to show you where the survey file should go right there. So once again, it'll help the grader and myself when we're looking at these if you kind of highlight your ID number in yellow right there so we can see it quite easy, and just paste it somewhere below all of your data. So that should be, any questions or comments on this before you get started? I have some, looks like some chat, so I'll take a look at that, but I'm going to stop recording since I'm not getting any questions.